Officers from the Meridian, Idaho Police Department, along with Detectives Cash and Prill, arrested Mr. Pankey yesterday at his home in Meridian, Idaho. He's currently being held without bond in the Ada County, Idaho jail, where he will await extradition back to the state of Colorado to face these charges. Please understand that while he has been indicted and that indictment has been returned in open court to our chief judge, that he is still presumed innocent unless and until these charges are proven beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. The indictment that I have referred to was unsealed just a little while ago. I am aware that it's been posted, on the 19th Judicial District Court website. We will also make it available to the public, to the media at the conclusion of this press conference. At the conclusion also, we'll take some questions, but please understand that this is still a pending prosecution, and I'm ethically limited in some of the answers to questions that I can give, but I will try to answer some of those questions. I want to, at this point, turn the podium over to Chief Jones.
Thank you, Michael, and good afternoon. My name is Mark Jones, and I'm the police chief of the Greeley Police Department. Today's press conference is 36 years in the making. For over 3 decades, the disappearance of Jonelle Matthews has left our community with many unanswered questions and a void that has not been filled. With the arrest of Steve Pankey for the murder of Jonelle Matthews, some of these questions are starting to be answered. I trust this new development helps the Matthews family, their friends, and our community to receive some closure and healing from this horrific crime. Today, I'm standing here representing all the men and women of the Greeley Police Department who since December 20th, 1984, have worked thousands of hours on this case. All these years of hard work and dedication were spent with the desire to find justice for Jonelle and her family. I must take this opportunity to thank the many men and women of the Greeley Police Department who have worked throughout the years on this case. There are many who have since retired and many who still work here. A big thank you to Detective Cash and Detective Prill here behind me, who have been the lead investigators on this case for the last several years. Job well done. A special thank you to Michael Rourke and the Weld County District Attorney's Office for all their hard work and assistance with this case. This has truly been a 36-year group effort by the officers of the Greeley Police Department and is an example of hard work, dedication, and a never give up attitude. I am very proud of each officer of the Greeley Police Department who has played a role in this case. To the Matthews family, I pray that this news brings you some closure and hope as we continue to pursue justice for Jonelle and your family. We have never forgotten Jonelle, and we never will. Thank you.
At this point, we'll go ahead and take some questions.
Can you talk about at all what linked Mr. Pankey to the arrest of how you got that?
I think the best thing I can tell you at this point, until you get a chance to look at the indictment, is we have laid out, or the grand jury in the indictment has laid out some of the evidence that they considered, that they determined was sufficient in order to return this indictment. There you'll see such things as the Matthews family frequented the same church. There was a little bit of overlap between the families and the defendant in 1978. There are a number of statements that he has made over the course of time, both to courts, to law enforcement, in unsolicited letters, in which he indicates some very intimate knowledge about the commission of the crime, information that the general public and the media was not privy to, indicating that he had an involvement in this offense. I think that's the best way that I can answer it at this point.
For people at home who don't maybe understand how cases like this work, can you kind of explain, if he had said some questionable things over the years, why it took until now to make this happen?
I think that's a great question. A lot of the statements that you'll see made reference to in the indictment are more recent than 1984. A lot of the statements were made in the 2000s and the 2010 decade. It's really a matter of these detectives taking all of that information, putting it together, and really doing the follow-up investigation that needed to be done, re-interviewing witnesses as necessary. The discovery of Jonelle's remains were significant in the course of this investigation, obviously, but also in leading us in part back to a suspect based on, again, some information that you'll see in the indictment.
Was Pinky a suspect before recently, or at what point did he become a suspect?
I think the best way to say it is he was not known hardly at all to law enforcement until very, very recently. And I shouldn't say that. He has been known to law enforcement during the period of time that he's writing some of these letters. I think the best way to describe it is he became a person of interest for our investigation early 2018, mid 2018.
Has anyone been in contact with the Matthews family?
Yes, yes. We were fortunate enough to have Jonelle's sister, Jennifer, was present here in Colorado on Friday. She was in the courtroom when we returned the indictment. We have spoken to the Matthews family, Jim and Gloria Matthews several different times. And I think the best way to describe their reaction was one of genuine relief and just excitement at this development.
Can you talk about any DNA found? Mr. Pinky said he provided DNA, and was that a link?
At this point, what I can say is that there is no definitive link DNA-wise between the defendant and Jonelle Matthews' remains.
Why aren't you guys wearing face masks?
We're 6 feet apart, sir.
No, but you're not.
Did Pinky know Jonelle before the killing?
Our belief is yes.
Do you know in what manner?
Possibly through the church, possibly through other means.
Was he like a teacher or just a co-congregant?
He was just a co-congregant.
Can you talk about the situation of his arrest, what happened?
Sure. When the indictment was returned in open court, our chief judge issued a warrant for his arrest with a no bond hold, like I indicated. Detectives Prill and Cash went up to Meridian, Idaho, coordinated with local law enforcement there. The arrest warrant was executed at his home. He was taken into custody without incident and taken to the Ada County, Idaho jail.
Do you have any reason to believe he may have been connected to anything else over these years?
That's a question I can't answer at this point. Other questions? Thank you very much for your time this afternoon.